News right now, pursuit of a driver in a stolen vehicle.
There it is right there, and Desmond Shaw is live overhead in SkyCal. Desmond, where are you and what's going on?
Juan and Susie, we are southbound on the 5 making our way into Castaic. This came out of Kern County. It's a pursuit that began with Bakersfield PD. It sounds like someone was giving a transient person a ride, and then the transient person decided to steal that vehicle, this black vehicle in question right here. So started with Bakersfield PD, then it went to Kern County CHP. They've since handed it off to LA County CHP. LA County Sheriff's Deputies helicopter is overhead. So they got it covered now from the ground and from the air. You see CHP units here in close pursuit. One of the rear tires, we understand, is flat. We didn't hear about a spike strip that may have happened earlier. Coming over the grapevine certainly would be a good place to do that because of fairly light traffic conditions. So one tire is out, one of 4. Here, a stolen vehicle after a Good Samaritan gave a transient a ride, and then it was basically stolen right out from under them. We're southbound on the 5, had some pretty high speeds. Things are starting to slow down now, and probably because, we have a flat tire. So now well into LA County, getting into Castaic and Santa Clarita. Juan and Susie.
Desmond, you mentioned traffic. We're looking at your shot there. It doesn't look like there's a lot of traffic ahead of this pursuit. Is that the case right now?
Pretty light traffic conditions. I'm looking southbound towards the 126 and no slowdowns whatsoever. CHP behind the pursuit is running a traffic brake with a motorcycle unit and several other cars to hold traffic back so that they don't get involved in this one, and to maybe also give units some extra space if they do want to do another spike strip or something like that. Actually, I say another one, but it's not clear if that happened earlier or if this vehicle got a flat tire by some other means, if they ran up on a curb or hit a nail or something like that. But southbound on the 5 now, will be at the 126 shortly. We'll see what this suspect decides to do, but just so unfortunate when it sounds like someone was trying to do a good deed and then they have their vehicle stolen from them.
Yeah, and I wonder, Desmond, how this car was stolen once the other person was driving it. I want to bring in Mike Rogers at the assignment desk to add to that.
Yeah, so I was been talking to a whole bunch of different agencies. CHP up in Bakersfield. I just left a message for Bakersfield PD. They're the ones that started this. But when CHP was relaying information to the LA County Sheriff's helicopter that's overhead, the person didn't really indicate. They were trying to sort out, was this armed? Was this, how did this exactly go down? And they weren't able to immediately get those details, but the person who called 911 kind of reported, like I was, told the police I was trying to do a good thing. This person took advantage of me, and now he has my car. So that's where we're at with this. Now, was it he got out at a gas station and this person jumped into the driver's seat? So far, we haven't heard anything that would lead us to believe this was any kind of armed takeover.
Right. I feel like we would have heard
right.
Because
that would elevate the situation. Sure. That would make it a 215, which is a carjacking. So if the car was taken by fear or force, then it would be a carjacking. If it's just a simple vehicle theft, then the person who owns the vehicle likely was not right in the immediate vicinity of the car when the car was taken.
Maybe this person asked the driver to stop at a 7-Eleven or somewhere, get a drink for both of them.
We've all driven the 5 freeway.
Heard of any violence.
Yeah, correct. We've not heard of any violence, no mention of weapons right now. And again, they're classifying this as what CHP calls a 10851 vehicle, which is a straight stolen. If it was any kind of force, they would have called it a carjacking suspect.
Okay, that's very interesting to know.
Desmond, you were giving us a real tight shot of the tire there. Is that the tire that was blown out, that front left tire?
Well, it kind of looks like it. Let me double in here. Actually, we're like quadrupled in here. Now, we had heard that it was the rear tire, but you look at that front driver's side tire, I think I see a little bit of rubber, but it looks like it might be getting to separate at any moment. So we'll keep an eye on that. But we had heard that another tire was already flat. So this makes me think that there was a spike strip used at some point, maybe earlier when this was leaving Kern County back before we picked it up on the LA County radios. That may have been the case. Kern County, I would have to imagine that they're one of the more aggressive agencies, maybe kind of akin to Orange County. We don't see too many pursuits with them, until they make it down this way. But it certainly seems like a spike strip was probably used at some point. And so hopefully it'll just be a matter of time before this vehicle is incapable of driving any further, as we are now getting into Santa Clarita here, getting ready to pass the 126. Looks like this driver is going to be sticking with the 5 and sticking to the same lane as well. At least we're not seeing any really insane driving. We had heard about some high speeds earlier, up to 100 miles an hour, but I don't think the vehicle is even capable of going that fast anymore now that we have at least one tire out.
Well, they're making a great pace right now, going pretty fast. But, as we all know, driving down the 5 South, we're going to get closer and closer to traffic here as we go further south.
And going downhill, too, right? Is going down the grade.
And especially
areas.
a day after a holiday, we've got a lot of people coming back from their holiday vacation here. And, to Desmond's point about the spike strips, I did hear even LA County, when they were further up in the mountains trying to set something like that up, the radio traffic was a little spotty for us when they were higher up in the mountain there. So it's unclear if they actually made any contact. But it almost appeared, I was listening to some traffic, and it appeared he may have either known or kind of at least had some sort of inkling, because they said for a while he was right up against the rear of a semi, and the airship described it as almost trying to hide behind the semi truck as they came down the 5 freeway. So obviously spike strips only work if there's nobody in front of the suspect vehicle. So it's hard to tell if he had any idea that was happening, or maybe it was a period of time before the LA CHP units were able to get in place and there was nobody behind him. So it's kind of hard to tell. But the sheriff's helicopter that's overhead is, I believe, Air 29, which is the Antelope Valley, the Lancaster Palmdale helicopter. So they were able to get over the hill and join up with this, which is good, because CHP's helicopter is on the way, but they came from Fullerton. So I'm looking at them on the radar right now. They're only in like Lincoln Heights.
Right.
So they've still got quite a distance to catch up with this one.
And we're starting to see a little bit more traffic now, as you can see there in that shot. We also saw one of those CHP cruisers get a little closer. I'm really surprised, Susie and Mike, just how steady this driver is keeping that car. If he is with 2 tires possibly blown out, the fact that maybe he's just riding on a rim or on a flat tire, he's keeping it pretty steady there, downhill at a high rate of speed, well, now 55 miles an hour or so, and just staying in that lane.
Yeah, and definitely the fact that there's not a lot of traffic around this person, definitely a plus for this person, obviously, because of the fact that they don't have to maneuver, as we often see during pursuits, in and out of traffic and cause more danger to people around. So that's certainly good news this afternoon, that there aren't a lot of vehicles out there. But again, as Juan was just talking about, as we heard, head further south, we're going to be, as you can see here,
a little heavier.
Yep, getting heavier and slowing down a bit.
I was just looking at our next traffic maps, and the maps show red basically through Magic Mountain. And then it lightens up a little bit, but not much, all the way down into the Newhall area. So he's definitely going to have to maneuver around some of this traffic, and that's not something we've seen yet in this pursuit, so we'll see how they handle it.
Well, look what's happening. That box truck, Mike, looked like it moved over to let the pursuit go by.
Here we
is
go.
he
going to do it? Really? Well, look at that. A pit maneuver on the freeway. Such a rarity. I think this is only the 3rd or 4th one I've ever seen before. Was wondering if they're going to try. Oh, no. Now the truck's going the wrong way here.
Too.
Oh, okay. Now he stopped. The door's open. Hopefully this is it. They're not going to try to get out and run around on the freeway. Let's see what happens here. But another rarity. I was wondering if CHP was going to take the opportunity there with the really slow traffic, and indeed they did, to do a pit maneuver here on the southbound 5 near Magic Mountain Parkway. But we've got hands coming up, so this is good. So I think this is going to be at an end, and let's see if they follow commands.
Wow, that was pretty aggressive.
No
as
shoes.
Desmond was talking about. No shoes, too.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's about. But, Desmond, as you were talking about the rarity of this, is not every day we see something like this happen, because of the fact that, when they do something like that, like a pit maneuver, they want to make sure there's no cars around, that, they're not going to harm other people. But that was just a perfect pit maneuver, if I may say that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the FedEx truck was right there. That FedEx van was right on the other side. I was very surprised they did that. And, man, you got to think that pavement's got to be hot as he gets out of that car without any shoes on.
And he may be asked to lay back down on that hot pavement while they approach him there. And we really did see why CHP really is the best when it comes to getting a pursuit in control, and they get the upper hand here. We saw that big box truck, move over to the side. That FedEx truck was there, and yet they took the chance.
That was an opportune moment they saw. The supervisor said, yep, go for it, and they did.
We don't see this very often, do we, Des?
No, not. I can count on one hand how many times I've seen pit maneuvers on the freeway now. I can recall, I believe this is the 4th time now that I've seen it. So, yeah, just a really amazing thing. We saw him coming in, and I was, wondering if it was going to be the 4th time. Indeed, it was. Perfectly executed there. Was, kind of nerve-wrackingly close to that FedEx truck, like Mike was saying. But everything worked out. And, they were also dealing with a flat tire, which was another factor. How's the vehicle going to behave if we do spin it around? But everything everything worked so perfectly now. And now, no doubt about it, this driver here, their feet have got to be on fire. It's almost 100 degrees here today in Santa Clarita on this hot pavement, and no shoes for this person. So backing up, inching ever so slowly, and then probably going to have to get down face first on the pavement as well.
Well, it ended well, right?
Yeah, it certainly did. All right, we're going to go to some other breaking news right now. It's a very busy afternoon here at KCAL. LA County Sheriff Robert